Hello, amazing listeners of the Becoming You podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Becoming You podcast where we talk about the complexities of adulthood. I am your host, Bukola. And guess what? Sorry, what's happening today?
We are talking.
No, today is my birthday. I'm so excited about it. On last week's episode, we talked about birthday depression, and today I'm just trying to be happy and to enjoy the most of today. On today's episode, we'll be talking about feminism, and I have a guest with me today. And what's your name?
My name is Busayo.
She's a returning guest. You guys will remember from the last two episodes, I guess, where we spoke about life in diaspora and all. This topic is actually very, very, very intriguing, and it's also very controversial. I mean, we're being feminist shamed these days, where people get feminist names like wicked,
misandrist,
dumb, and all sorts of things. So we're just here to just say it as it is, to describe our journey as feminists and just talk about everything. Without further ado, let's dive into the conversation of today. Right before we dive in, let's hear what these amazing people think of the adulthood phase.
Adulthood is responsibility.
Adulthood is complicated.
Adulthood is growth.
Adulthood is maturity.
Adulthood is being independent.
Adulthood is stressful.
Adulthood has been confronting.
Adulthood is draining.
Adulthood is decision making.
Adulthood is resilient.
Adulthood is overwhelming.
Adulthood is fun and adventurous.
Remember, I'm not here to demonize this phase, but to say it as it is. Okay, so Busayo, would you describe yourself as a feminist?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're going to pick up the title like feminist, what does feminism mean? What does it mean to be a feminist?
Actually, for me, feminism is the fight for women's rights, for equity in society. Basically, that's how I would define feminism.
Yeah. I think feminism is all about. I would say gender equality, really, because I think there's always this misconception like it's only about women. Because when we fight for gender equality, both men and women will be saved from gender roles.
Actually, you're not wrong.
Just for gender equality, where women can be free, we can be seen as humans. We don't have to be seen as support systems to men like that.
Men can be free.
Exactly.
Of some responsibilities that are necessarily not supposed to be theirs.
When did you realize that you're a feminist? Like, how did you pick up the title?
Actually, I don't know. The more I grew, I began to see things like in different ways. I think initially I didn't accept the title.
Yeah,
feminist.
Everybody had that face.
I just knew that I saw this and this and this as wrong and this and this and this as right, but I didn't want to accept the title feminist. But I can't say that this was at this certain point that I decided to be a feminist. But I just knew that it was a learning process.
Yeah, you said something really interesting, like you did not accept the title. I think every one of us had that face. I would say some things like, I support gender equality. I support women's rights, but I'm not a feminist.
Are you? Do
not call me a feminist.
Yeah.
Because with that name came responsibility, some baggage that you're not prepared for, and you're introducing yourself, and people are like, she's a feminist. There's this stigma.
It's not that deep. No, it's not like this. I don't know. Like, it's not that scary when you get to know what feminism actually means.
Exactly. But I think it's just the generalization that comes with it. So most of us just avoid it. Growing up, I never even thought about gender equality per se. I just wanted to grow up, go to school, then find one rich man that will marry me.
And just take you.
And my life problem will just end.
I will live happily ever after.
My sister, I believe it was a man's responsibility to spend on a woman. And I had a friend then. I had one, I know my parents will be watching this, but I had a boyfriend then in part one.
I didn't know that.
Hey!
Wow.
So I had this person in part one, and I would always be reluctant to call him because I believe it was a guy's duty to call me. Yeah. And this friend of ours, Faith always say, why are you waiting for someone to call? If you miss the person, call the person. Do you understand? And I think my first exposure to feminism came with the discussions I had with her. She made me see things in a different light. She always say things like, if you feel it, do it. If you want to spend on a guy, spend it. But that one has put me into so much trouble that we're not going to talk about today. So there were a lot of times where I felt like I wasn't qualified to be called a feminist. And I just wanted gender equality. I just wanted women's rights. But yeah, owning up to the title came with exposure, came with knowledge, and it came with growth, like she said. So like, how would you say? Would you say your family background inspired you to be a feminist?
I wouldn't say that. I think my parents are like how do I say, traditional
Yeah.
people. They have their gender roles. The father does this, mother does this. But kind of sometimes I like to think that my father is a feminist because my father did not assign gender roles to us as his kids.
Wow.
Like as a girl child, I would do things that were supposed to be typically done by my brother. Teaching me how to change tires.
You know how to change tires. Okay, that's good. That's good.
This
is a self-sufficient young lady. Yeah.
I am. How to fix the car batteries if something is wrong, how to put water in the radiator, change car oil.
I don't even know where a radiator is in a car.
When you open the bonnet.
My younger brother embarrassed me. Because seriously, there was a day the car was overheating, something like that, when we went down. And the person was like, open the bonnet, open the radiator. And my younger brother was like, you know what? I said, okay, just hold on. And he went to open it. For you, he told me to my face that day that I will teach you how to drive.
Maybe.
Yeah. But it's actually very interesting to see that your dad did not actually assign gender roles to you guys. Like while growing up, you guys were made to do everything. But are there instances where he will tell you that, okay, I'm training you with this skill because it will be useful for you in your husband's house?
No.
Are you serious?
He never mentioned this. The only person that used to mention that was my mom.
Okay. Okay.
My mom is traditional to the core. She's so traditional. Like, she didn't allow my brother into the kitchen. Yeah, because the kitchen belongs to the woman. You're not supposed to be in the kitchen. You're supposed to do only the electrical stuff in the house. But my dad was not like that. Like, they are quite different, but they're also very traditional anyways. So I think maybe the idea of like women not having to do like specific things came from my dad. I would say that.
Yeah, I think the family setting here is actually the foundation of the old patriarchal system we have right now in the Nigerian society. I actually grew up in I would not say my dad too had some traits. I can say my dad is a feminist because like he had 3 girls. We were 3 at first. We're a total of 5 children right now. So like when we were 3, my dad was okay with having only girls. But we had the society. People would make him feel like you need a boy child to feel complete and to feel accomplished as a man. There were times people would just casually say to my mom like, oh, your children are not yet complete. Ooh. Because you do not have a male child yet. But my dad never acted to us in a different way. He trained us like, okay, I don't even need a boy child. I have you girls and we're going to do everything together. So that we were close to him, we would talk to him, we would wash his car too. He would give us some chairs, we'll climb on the chair to go to the top of the car, wash the car. So we did everything basically. While my dad trained us to be self-sufficient as ladies, he also did things that would show that he was actually very much into the traditional family setting. Because my dad would watch ball while my mom cooks, like he would do things like that would just make us see that, okay, a man's place is in the sitting room while a woman's place is in the kitchen. Seeing these things would give my brothers, for instance, an idea of how a family should be. Because they will grow up to believe that they're supposed to be watching movies while their wives are in the kitchen cooking. So like if we're looking for a change, the kind of change we desire in the society, I think it has to start from the family.
The family, yes, because your family has a very big impact in the way that you see the world, in the way you see things. Like a very, very huge impact. And like you said, like your brothers will grow up to see, like, and believe that that's how things are supposed to be done, and that's why we have a lot of men out there that still feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this while my wife is supposed to be doing this and that. So
exactly, like they just feel like they're supposed to carry the weight of the world. They're supposed to be the provider. And it's actually very, very difficult for them too. That's just the part we're not ready for as a society. Men go through a lot emotionally, but they are unable to talk about their emotional problems.
Yeah, because they were taught to not show emotions.
Exactly.
Showing emotion makes them weak in quotes.
And I feel like it's just a lot. Even their friendships are weak because they do not like have people they can talk to about problems. They don't have like that connection we have as ladies. Like I can just call Busayo and say like I'm having a breakdown, I should just listen to me cry. I don't have anything to talk about. I know things makes us human.
Yeah.
And I'll say we have so many cold men in the society now because of the way they've been trained to be. The masculinity of men in our Nigerian society is highly tied to how they can control the women in their lives. From their sisters to their wives, to even people they do not know.
To their colleagues.
I've seen situations whereby a man will tell you like, you can't talk to me like this because my wife at home doesn't talk to me like this. Some will even ask you that, don't you have husband at home?
Yes.
I think it's so annoying. So things like that. So are you a Christian?
Definitely, of course.
No, like I'm trying to introduce you to the listeners
Okay,
and the
so yes,
viewers.
I'm a Christian.
Yeah, I'm also a Christian, and I'll call myself a Christian feminist. So there's this would I say narrative that some people have come together to like just cook up, and they'll say as a Christian you cannot be a feminist. Okay, because according to the Bible, women are supposed to be submissive, to men. So Busayo, what do you think about this narrative? What do you think about this? Yeah, this narrative
of
submission, of feminism and Christianity.
Okay, so actually, I believe that submission is a two-way thing.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you're with a person, you're going to be submissive to that person. As a woman, I'll be submissive to my man, and he's supposed to be submissive to me in return. Like, submission does not mean stupidity. People need to understand that submission does not mean that like you're being controlled or whatever. Because when you tell men that you have to submit to your wife, they're like, no, so she will be controlling me. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with being controlled or anything. Like, submission is a two-way thing. I submit to you, like I'm giving you myself, my all, and it's supposed to be reciprocated.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with accountability.
Yeah,
like you guys are being accountable to one another. And even in the Bible that men used to defend these things, it says, wife, be submissive to your husband. And I think in the next verse there was a thing as husbands should love their wives as Christ loved the church. Have you seen how Christ loved the church?
I think people just pick the part of the holy books that works for them.
Yeah.
Like, it goes in other religions. Like, we just pick the part that works for them, and they don't read. Sometimes they don't even read the beginning, or they just pick something from the middle and
out of context.
To it. Yeah.
Exactly. Because Jesus Christ literally gave his life for the church. He literally did everything for the church. So if we're talking about submission, I think Christ is even an example of submission. We're not trying to make a biblical lesson, but it was said that we are all created in the image of God and in his likeness, not men.
It's not that men are created in the likeness
of
just
God. Women. Exactly. So like we are all meant to be partners. We're all meant to help each other out. It's not a thing of oppressor and the oppressed.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to work like that. We've seen a lot of women give up on their dreams because of marriage.
Yes.
And it's so sad to see. Society will tell us we're not supposed to be an achiever.
If you are, don't get too rich, because nobody's going to marry you.
Imagine.
Yeah.
I think marriage has even been tagged as like the highest achievement.
Actually, yes, because sometimes you see a woman that has achieved so much, and when she's naming an achievement, they're like, okay, and where's your man? Now, marriage is an achievement for you if you like. I want to get married, and then I get it. You have achieved a goal.
And what do you think about marriage? Do you think everybody's supposed to get married?
If you want to get married,
marriage is for companionship. Seriously. So like if you want to have somebody that you know that the person will always have your back. I even see marriage as that kind of contract where you guys are signing a contract to have each other's back for the rest of your lives. So it's not a thing about you want someone to come and serve you. You want someone to come and worship you. No, if you're having that mindset about marriage, I think you should review it and you should try to see your partner as your equal half. In fact, is it half? I think there's not even. You're equal. You're equal, yeah.
We are the same. We are together. Like, we help each other. We are there for each other. There are things that I cannot do that he can do for me. There are things that he cannot do that I can do for him. That's how it's supposed to be.
What do you think of roles in marriage? Like, the husband is supposed to cook. We see this argument on Twitter every time. Who's supposed to cook in the kitchen? Who's supposed to clean? Who's supposed to...
Gender roles in your home, it depends on you and your husband. If I like, I'll cook for my husband. every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
5:30
I
a.m.
wake up at
4:30
3:30
a.m.
and cook
Okay.
for my man because I love my man. It does not make me
Yeah.
less of a feminist. I'm doing it because I love this person and I want to take care of this person. I'm not doing it because I am forced to do it. I'm not doing it because you're supposed to do it. No. If you love somebody, you want to do things to make them happy. You want to do things to make their life easier.
Yeah, I think that's something we should also reiterate here. Feminism is not supposed to tell you how to live your life.
Exactly.
It's just about telling us that we have the freedom to do whatever we want to do as women. And it's just about fighting for the liberation of women in the sense that we're able to like just be ourselves and we're not obliged to do something or to fulfill a particular role. So because you're a feminist doesn't mean you should not cook. But like as a person, if you don't like cooking, it's not supposed to be a big deal, regardless of your gender, man
it's
or
not
a
supposed
woman.
to be a deal breaker. Like you cannot cook. Oh, then I cannot marry you. Then why don't you just marry your chef or your cook or your dry cleaner or your housekeeper if that's what you are looking for?
Exactly. So like if you're a feminist, you can be found in the kitchen cooking for your man.
Why not? If you really love somebody, you would want to do everything in your power to make that person's life easier. And if cooking for the person is part of those things that will make his life easier or her life easier, then why not?
Exactly, you do it. It's just about, I think the old argument about kitchen, why the argument comes up is because so like a lot of people believe like it's the woman's duty to cook.
Yeah.
So we are just here as feminists to tell you as a woman that it is not your duty or marital obligation to cook. You have an option. You can decide not to cook. Do you understand? So if you're cooking, it's a thing of choice. So if you're doing it by choice, all good and fine. You're free. You can cook and you can decide not to cook. So like gender roles. I used to tell my partner, I'm not the traditional woman. See, I'm not the traditional woman. I'm not that person that wake up and start cooking by 3:30 a.m. For real. I cook for him and he cooks for me too. But I just tell him, our family, I don't even know how we're going to arrange it. There was a time we were talking about the creating rosters. That we look at our maybe probably work shift or something and we'll just create rosters around it. I know I'll tell my mom these things. My mom will say things like, you're being delusional. All this roster, all these things, and you're just imagining things. When you get into the marriage, you will see that it cannot happen. It doesn't work that way. And I'm telling her now, Mommy, I know you're watching this. It's going to work.
No, you say that?
It's going to work. It's going to work. We don't have gender roles in my marriage. Anyone that in my future marriage, everyone that is capable to do anything at a given time, just get it done. That's how it's supposed to be.
That's how it's supposed to be because I can't imagine like if we both work and then you arrive home before me and then you're waiting for me to come back from work tired and then start cooking while you sit and watch TV. That's not considerate.
It's unfair.
If you love me enough, you wouldn't even want to watch me like go through that amount of stress.
I think there are times I've seen my dad enter the kitchen. Like I've eaten my dad's food a lot. Whenever my dad realizes that my mom is going to get back from work late and he had like the opportunity to be at home before her, he would just try to arrange something and just make something for her and for us to eat. So generally, like we've been saying, we as feminists, we want gender equality.
Yeah.
We don't want to face limitations or face difficulties in achieving our goals because we are women.
Yeah.
That's just what we fight for, and we want to be seen as equal members of the society. And talking about invisibility of women, do you have any experience like that? Or probably something you had to go through because of your gender?
No, actually.
Seriously? Are you sure you cannot remember?
Like this, not that I have paid attention to.
I have so many. There was this day I and my partner went to get suya from this Sawusa guy. And I was telling the guy, I was the one craving suya. I was the one that told my partner, let's go out and get suya. Then I told the Hausa guy to sell me 200 naira suya because it was small. And this guy just ignored what I said. Then he looked at my partner, Oga, how much suya you want? And because my partner is also a member of this society that has been produced by gender division, he looked to the guy and just said, okay, give us 500 naira suya. And I'm like, seriously? I was really angry. I was really angry. He didn't see it as a problem as when it happened. But when I explained to him, he actually took note of like the incident and stuff. So it just shows that these things are being produced daily. Like people see it, yeah. And if we're looking for the kind of change we need to start making a difference right now. We need to start training kids to see things in a different light. We need to start training girls not to be wives. With my brothers, I think I'm trying to be different. When they are crying, I allow my brothers cry.
Yeah.
Because my mom might say things like, "You're a man.
Men don't cry.
Men don't cry." And I'm like, cry. You need it.
Just let it out.
Exactly.
And the thing is, people, most men think that crying is the only kind of emotion. They're like, "Oh, you're too emotional," but then they express their own emotion with anger.
Yes.
Like, that's also an emotion that you're expressing. So if you're saying I'm so emotional because I'm crying, you're also an emotional person because you're always angry, because you have a lot inside of you that you're keeping. You're not letting it out. Yeah. And then you're letting it out through anger, and that's a bad
it's very
kind of
destructive,
emotion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you know, I've never thought about it that way? Like I'm actually so just in tune to that crying side of me. I believe that you need to cry to show and yeah, that's true. They just get to show their emotions in a different way, and which it's more like toxic to their being. It's more toxic to their being and stuff. The way you guys even do friendship, we don't understand.
Yeah,
like we don't understand how you be having problems and just keeping it to yourself. So Nigerian men, when we're talking about feminism, when we're talking about the feminist movement, we are not trying to make you feel less, or we're not trying to have a woman's world. We just want an equal world. It doesn't have to be a man's world or a woman's world, or it just has to be a safe space. Where I can go to the. So yeah, guys, I wrote this mini piece on feminism. I'll be dropping the link in the description box. You should give it a read if you're interested. All of you should be interested. Yeah, you should give it a read. You actually love it, and you will enjoy it. And the title is "A Nigerian Twitter Feminist Beta." Busayo, are you a Nigerian Twitter feminist?
I'm not active on Twitter.
But if you were,
I'll probably be one.
Yeah. A lot of people actually avoid Twitter because of the chaos on Twitter. You made mention of equality, equity. A lot of people say we can never be equal because of our biological differences. A man has a different thing he can do because of his body and his hormones. A woman has a different thing she can do because of her body and her hormones. So what do you actually think about that?
Okay, so it's not wrong that we have different things that we can do. I can get pregnant, a man cannot get pregnant.
Exactly.
And many more. And that doesn't mean that we cannot have the same, how do I say it? Opportunities. That doesn't mean that I and a man would do the same job and I would get paid less.
Exactly.
I don't want to be a man. I'm not trying to be a man. I know that a man is a man and I am a woman also. I don't want to be a king. I can be a queen. I'm not, those kind of things where like a woman is saying I'm a king. I'm not a king. I'm a queen.
Yeah, I want to be a respected queen.
Exactly. we have a title for that.
The biological differences does not equate intellectual will I say difference? Me having what I have as a woman does not make me less capable intellectually of doing some certain things.
Sorry, I saw a speech by Priyanka Chopra, the Indian lady, and she was talking about something like, why is it that a man can have a family and be a CEO and have a business, a booming career, and then we say that a woman cannot have a family and have a career. She has to choose between both.
Yeah, that's I always say it though. I like my positive affirmation is I'm going to have it all. I'm going to have a very happy family. I'm going to have a career. I'm going to just do everything. And I think we need to start showing people now that we can do it all. It's not going to be easy. We get help if need be. And I think that's where equality and equity comes in.
Yeah.
It's not really about just making opportunities equal. You have to consider that when pregnancy comes in, for instance, the woman has to go through the hormonal changes for 9 months. The job has to have the understanding, things are going to happen to this woman. So equity is when they actually put that into consideration. Sincerely, the world has actually not been a fair place to women.
No.
When we're talking about biological differences, people say women are not as hardworking as men. And someone even came online. One guy came online to post about. He said something like, "I'm trying to remember now. If we're being sincere, women are not built to do what men can do." in terms of work. And personally, I've been reading about like history and slavery era and everything. And I saw this speech by a woman. I know she was talking about how she was made to do as much work as a man. Like as she was made to do so much work, and there was no difference between what she had to do as a woman and what a man was doing at that time.
Yeah.
So like women and men were used. They were used at the same level.
There's
exactly.
nothing like the male slave or the female slave. They work the same amount of time.
Exactly. They were just used, like they were enslaved people, and they were used. You guys, you don't know what a woman is capable of doing. So like before you come out to say things like
a woman is not built to do what a man can do, and also the thing is, the society doesn't even help women that are trying to like have their career and have their family. Like not like they don't help, they actually try to bring them down. Now let's take for example, a man takes his child to work, everybody's applauding like, oh, cute baby, oh, father of the year, blah 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 blah. Let a woman do the same thing. Oh, she doesn't know how to balance between work and life. She's bringing family into work, and then it's like there's a problem with it just because a woman is doing it. And that doesn't make sense, It
doesn't.
That's one of the things that makes it difficult for women to be able to balance their life, their personal life, their family, and their career, because the society just tries to bring them down as much as they can.
Yeah, and you get things like if there's an issue with the child, it's the woman that's supposed to leave her job and come and sit at home with the child, or the woman is being irresponsible. That's why she's working and taking care of the child and everything. And see, let's try to round this up. Yeah, when we're talking about equality, it's not really we're not just fighting for things that are advantageous to us, or just fighting for things that benefit us as women. It's going to be beneficial for all. Like imagine you as a man not having to bottle up all your emotions because you're a man. Imagine you as a man not having to carry the financial responsibility where even on your shoulders, where you can just split it with somebody.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I've actually seen like people on Instagram, comment sections, and they're like, I would never accept money from my wife. I would rather suffer and like, I don't know, work hard than have my wife contribute.
It is like my brother.
No, do you want to die?
Hunger. See, seriously, everyone wants to be taken care of. Everyone wants to be cared for.
Exactly.
Everyone wants to be pampered. Just relax. We just want a world where everybody can just be themselves freely. I think it's just do what works for you as a couple. You guys have the conversation. Nobody's obliged to do something. Nobody should be forced to do anything, and you guys just talk things through. You cannot continually tie your masculinity to how much you're able to oppress women.
Yeah.
It's just very toxic, and that's why you see people. I was reading about the gender-based violence going on in Kenya, and I saw this documentary where some men were expressing their feelings about violence and maltreatment of women. And I heard some men say things like, we were trained to beat women. Yeah, one of the guy even said, you have to scold her, because when you tell a women are stubborn. According to him, he said women are stubborn, so when you tell them stop, they don't hear. But when you beat them once and they annoy you, and you tell them you don't want to see what I can do, they remember the last beating you gave them, that they received, and they stop and everything. So it's a way of curbing women. So like you have to check yourself. Why do you feel you need to curb another person?
A woman that you claim to love.
Can you imagine? She's not your kid. Like, we don't even beat children these
anymore.
Days. So yeah, guys, I think we just need to review everything, like review our processes. Busayo, do you have like something else to add?
Well, actually, I would like to also add that feminism is not supposed to impose things on women. So if a woman comes out to say that, oh, I want to be this and this, you don't have to say, no, you should not do this because you're a feminist. That's not being feminist, actually.
Yeah.
Because now you're also imposing your idea on the woman. Meanwhile, feminism is supposed to give people their freedom to be able to decide what they want to do and what they don't want to do.
Exactly. So yeah, feminism is not about telling all women to be kings.
Yeah. And feminism is not misandry.
Yeah, I think we should
Feminists
actually
don't
say that.
feminists don't hate men.
We don't hate men. So feminism is not a movement or a mass movement against men.
Against men.
Yeah, we're not against you. We just want a place where we can be free to do whatever we want to do, and I think that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has
This is
been
nice
funny.
conversation.
Yeah, it's actually a very nice one. You can call us whatever you want, and we wear the badge with pride. I am a Christian. I am a feminist. And if you think I'm wicked, yes, I am. And we'll call it a day.
I'm a witch.
So yeah, thank you so much, Busayo, for coming. It was a pleasure to have you in today's episode.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Tell them to subscribe, please.
Please like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next episode. Do not forget to live every moment and leave no room for regrets. Remember to follow this channel so you get notification whenever I drop a new episode. Thank you. Bye.